Hello and thanks once again for your company as we blaze the trail for the 6:15 p.m. installment of the news in English on Canal International. As usual, we kickstart the session with a recap of our late stories.
Accused of cannibalism, a school teacher in Douala commits suicide as she could not bear the shame and stigma she undergoes in the society. The deluge in the far north region of Cameroon has 40,000 people displaced from their homes. Despite humanitarian actions, the water level keeps rising with subsiding rains. Driven by passion, despite parental barriers, Cameroonian female rugby star Alvin Kwekum springs to the pinnacle of fame as she joins the national rugby team. The 26-year-old mother of 3 children says she has no salary but sustains her family and her extended family with just match bonuses. The 6:15 news comes up in a split second with Intarike Divine Ramsey Jr.
Thanks for staying on with us as we flip open our news file tonight on this rather unfortunate note. A woman in her late 40s has taken her own life in Douala. It is the same lady who earlier this week was accused by her relatives and neighbors of regularly biting off the flesh of her brother's children. Apparently unable to cope with the stigma, the shame, and the online bashing, she decided to consume a sizable quantity of rat poison, according to medical sources. D. Morin.
Traces of her throwing out after taking the poisonous substance is still visible on the floor. Annabelle Su, teacher by profession and native of the Northwest region, could no longer bear the insults, shame and threats from a furious population, including her neighbors. She was allegedly banished and stopped from crossing paths with just anyone around her Bona Musadi neighborhood. Unable to cope with the shame and stigma, the lady in her 40s decided to commit suicide in the night of October 25 by consuming a rat poison. She asked me if someone drinks a rat poison, will the person die? That's when I realized she had done something bad to herself. I started alerting others that she had drank rat poison. I entered into her house and discovered she had packed everything. When I saw her sweating, I asked her if she drank rat poison, and she told me yes. Annabelle is accused of maltreating and torturing her brother's kids. She bites them regularly, inflicting wounds and pains. The scars on the children's body is an evidence of her regular acts. With regrets, she confessed for her action but could not regain the esteem she once enjoyed in the society. Even the students she taught in school described her as inhumane.
Not only a teacher, she was a mother. She was a friend.
According to family sources, the lady committed suicide after suffering from depression.
Now, trickling reports indicate that some 40,000 men, women, and children have been displaced from areas across the far north region of Cameroon as a result of the devastating floods witnessed this year. And though the rains might be subsiding, we gather that water levels remain disturbingly high, causing the collapse of houses, the wrecking of farmlands and livestock, as well as the disruption in the services offered by schools and hospitals. Sherifa Saleh.
The Norwegian Refugee Council, the NRC, reports that since August, devastating floods in several localities across the far north region have forced more than 40,000 people to flee their homes. After so many years, we still have these floods and people are moving from one place to the other as if we were refugees. It's not right. This year's floods have been particularly devastating. The world's weather forecasters had already predicted that there will be a lot of flooding, but we had no idea how bad it would get. The waters have risen to more than 1.5 meters, which is quite irregular, and it is said that the last time this department experienced such tragedy was in 2012. According to a statement published by the Independent Humanitarian Organization on October 25th, the victims were forced to relocate from the Mayo-Danai, Logan-and-Shari, and Mayo-Tanaga after the floods smashed their homes and wrecked their farmlands. Though the heavy rains, which have since August caused rivers in the region to overflow and destroy dikes, experts warned that the water levels in the river Logan and Shari, as well as the Winner and Maga lakes, have risen considerably. Many did not want to leave their homes. That is why we transport people from house to house by pirogue. And as our pirogue has no engine, we only charge 50 francs per person. It's not easy for us moms. There are normally more of us. We have to strengthen the dam to avoid this kind of problem. At the moment, we are really left to our own devices. The United Nations Officer for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says several parts of the region, and especially the Mayo-Danai and the Logan and Shari, remain dangerously flooded, a situation that leads to frequent collapse of houses, plus the destruction of crops, livestock, and other property. It adds that the floods have also disrupted basic social services, including schools, health facilities, and markets.
Now, in the wake of the observed uptick in violence and instances of deviant behavior on campuses across the country, administrative authorities have been reflecting on practical solutions. We now take you over to Bafang in the west region of Cameroon, where the administrators have instituted the systematic search of the bodies and bags of students going to school in bids to dispossess them of unauthorized items. Here is D. Maureen once again.
The disturbing situation of violence, rape, sexual harassment, drug consumption within schools today cannot be overemphasized. Students and teachers have sustained injuries, with others killed as a result of violent acts on campuses. In order to preempt the rampant phenomenon, the senior divisional officer for the Upper Camp Division, accompanied by security officers, have embarked on an unannounced or systematic search in schools. Their first stop was at Government Technical School, Bafang. In this classroom, the students were told to hand out their school bags and every other belongings. After a thorough search, objects like knives, telephones, hard drugs, and huge sums of money were discovered. They were all confiscated, and the owners questioned by the police for carrying unauthorized items to school. The parents have been summoned by the school administration as the students will face the disciplinary council. Sound ambience. Meantime, the senior divisional officer have urged school authorities to constantly hold talks with children on the need for them to shun violence and other deviant acts in schools. The SO equally told the students on the need to denounce mates involved in such illegal activities.
Now we stay on our education page because in the past couple of weeks, the University of Douala has been claiming the news headlines, and mostly so for the wrong reasons. When it's not been about power cuts, it's been about overcrowded lecture halls and obsolete infrastructure, among others. But as we gather in the following report, that gloomy picture could be witnessing a turnaround in the next couple of months with the unfolding of infrastructure construction and rehabilitation projects on the campus. Here's D. Maureen.
In the last 10 years, the University of Douala has suffered from old and dilapidated buildings with some obsolete equipment that are no longer in use. Amphitheaters and classrooms are crowded, making learning uncomfortable for students. Today, major innovations in terms of infrastructure have cropped up. These include construction and rehabilitation of amphitheaters, complex Gandopondo, library, toilets, restaurants, the new EUT building, and some central services, not leaving out ambulances, buses, didactic material equally purchased.
The main building of the rectorate of the university have been totally renewed. Other administrative buildings, central administration.
According to the University Secretary General, Professor Harry Desiree Mondo Kokobebe, ongoing construction and rehabilitation will help in its decongestion phase, as well as beef up its digitalization and professionalization of studies, which for now remains a priority. Students have saluted the innovative strategy of the rector, who is just 3 years old in office.
He has renovated our main entrance, and our forum, which was something very important for us, has been restored.
Meantime, classrooms, offices and pathways are sparkling with the return of electricity a month ago. This October 25, we met the rector in a meeting with NAO officials. Both officials have created a platform of understanding based on measures taken to ensure the university never experiences blackouts.
Now let's shift focus to the endlessly blossoming motorbike taxi sector, which continues to appeal to ever more young people across Cameroon. Generally, the activity is considered chaotic by the vast majority of Cameroonians, including users who blame carelessness on the part of the riders. We head over to Yaoundé now, where Hyacinth Chia in the following narrative tells us that one of the reasons for the rising frequency of accidents in the motorbike taxi sector is the absence of rear-view mirrors. His report.
Out of about 50 motorcycles at every road junction in Yaoundé, only 1 or 2 can boast of a complete bike with 2 side mirrors. Surprising enough, some of the riders themselves do not know why they run around without the important element.
On ne sait pas pourquoi on se pose la question pourquoi on n'a pas besoin de rétroviseurs comme ça.
This negligence, road safety experts lament, cause lots of accidents daily.
Quand ils enlèvent ces rétroviseurs,
when they take off such mirrors, the rider spends time trying to look behind from left to right, and when he does that, there is danger in front. He hits cars, pedestrians, causing accidents here and there.
Du coup, terrible.
While others say it is the new mode of the activity, some even state that there are new bikes sold to them without the side mirrors.
Parfois, la moto ne vient pas avec la rétroviseur. Nous aussi, on ne s'inquiète pas de demander pourquoi ils ont enlevé ça.
A claim dismissed by these bike sellers who advance some reasons why the riders take off the mirrors.
C'est absolument faux.
It is absolutely false. No bike leaves the shop without side mirrors. They need sensitization. Generally, the riders remove the mirrors to be able to mingle in between cars, especially when there is hold up. The mirrors disturb them, so they take them off to be able to run freely. But for Pat Day, with over 30 years of experience as a commercial motorbike rider, his side mirrors are always intact. And he called on his younger colleagues to do same to avoid unnecessary accidents.
Now, a caucus of frontline actors of the music industry in Cameroon is demanding an in-depth audit of the money used as authors' rights across Cameroon. Led by Makosa Guru Ndedi Eyango, the disgruntled musicians are wondering aloud why and how, out of about 1.2 billion CFA francs in their coffers, only 58 million CFA francs have so far been shared. Here's Keja Henry Atembe.
The recent sharing of copyright benefits by the Cameroon Music Corporation has created a rift amongst musicians, many of whom are speechless on the uneven distribution procedure. They say they cannot understand why only 58 million francs CFA has been shared, whereas the Copyright Corporation received more than 1.2 billion francs. A caucus of headliners of what is the network of musicians say they want to understand where 1.2 billion has been kept. Led by Makosal mogul Ndedi Eyango, the group met in Douala to condemn the opaque management of the Copyright Corporation. They have asked for a probe in the management and distribution of the money collected by Sunakam.
We stay on our culture page now, where preparations are gathering momentum in prelude to this year's celebration of the Ngondo Festival. That's an annual commemoration and celebration of the lifestyle of the Sawa people who reside along the Atlantic coastline in Cameroon. The month-long event this year will unfold under the banners of love, peace and unity, and comes a couple of years after the coronavirus pandemic actually shelved the celebrations. Gladys Ambo.
The Ngondo Cultural Festival of the Sawa people will resume with its usual format of activities this 2022, 2 years after they were interrupted as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The festival has been announced to run for 1 month from November 4 to Sunday, December 4, 2022.
Traditional activities such as wrestler, canoe race, Miss election, and many other activities as usual.
No innovations shall feature this year, which will be characterized by a sensitization campaign on the 2022 theme, which is Kodambua, meaning love for fatherland and the importance of peace and living together.
We are going back to the original format of the event, a tour to the different cantons to reinforce conviviality, living together, and this will culminate with the traditional rites at the river bank.
This year's Ngondo Festival will hold amidst the gloomy clouds coming on the heels of the death of one of the pillars of the Sawa traditional peerage, His Majesty Madiba Songe, Chief of the Bakoko.
Now, in countries like Cameroon, where football has gained a status synonymous with religion, mentioning other sports of the caliber of rugby could simply sound abstract, and even more so when the practitioners are women. Up next on our feature page and wrapping up this edition of the 6:15 p.m. installment, Stephanie Chin shines the light on a group of girls who are determined to surmount the stigma and make a name out of playing rugby in Cameroon. Here's a report.
26-year-old Cameroonian rugby player Alvin Kweko Mache is 1.82 meters tall and trains multiple times a week in Kol Ango, an impoverished district in the political capital, Yaoundé. She plays for the Fun Dreams Academy, one out of 4 women's rugby clubs in Cameroon. She has also been selected for the Cameroon national team this year. According to the Cameroon Rugby Federation, only 120 women are registered players. Every time, even in my own family, people say, "No, Alvin, you've been playing rugby for years, but it's not paying off for you." I tell them that it's my passion, even though I haven't been doing it for a very long time. But I love rugby. I love my sport. I love what I do. Alvin Kwekum cannot, however, live from her passion. She's not paid any salary, only bonuses. She lives with her mother, her 3 brothers, and sisters in a small shack in Kom, a popular district in Yaoundé. I get scared when she plays. When she plays, she comes back here with destroyed feet. She goes and sleeps over there. Nobody can help her with 100 francs or something like that to buy medicine. The women's team is counting on the next African Rugby Championship in Cameroon, precisely to highlight their discipline. According to World Rugby, Cameroonians rank 26th out of 61 nations. Their male counterparts occupy the 104th place out of 109.
Stephanie Chin replacing the lead on tonight's installment of the news in English on Canal International. A very sincere gratitude for your loyalty once again. More news coming up at 1950 in French with Alain Ghislain Kanga. But before then, The debrief in a couple of minutes from now from Yaoundé with Janice Kamga. Don't you go away, and catch you same time, same place tomorrow.